Okay. Just gonna wait until I can see the first comment and then we will get started. If you're on the replay, fast forward probably like just a minute to get through this. Okay, I wanna make sure I have my questions pulled up and my notes. Okay, good morning guys. Hello. I hope you are having an amazing day so far. If you can send this in the chats for me, that would be fantastic. I didn't fill up my water. All I got is crunchy ice. Anywho, I'm gonna get thirsty throughout this. What I wanted to do today was come on here and pour into you guys about team building, about enrolling promoters, and kind of the process that I go through. And we do have many trainings in this team page about it. Obviously, we have many trainings about everything that you could possibly want, but I like to do updated ones. I like to come on here and just chat with you guys and do Q&As. So as I always like to say, utilize the resources in this team page. So do not ever sit struggling with something and identifying with a certain struggle and not taking action to solve it, because I can promise you that no matter what you're struggling with, there is a solution through a video, through a leader, through a chat to help you to break through that and move on to the next level. And when it comes to enrolling promoters, I wrote this out in two sections, kind of like a mindset portion and then also a action plan with tangible things that I do to grow my business, to show up every day, to enroll promoters, but it's really both. And I know that we talk a lot about mindset, but that's because it's the base of your entire business. And even from the questions that I saw being asked in the thread when I asked you guys to drop any questions about this, almost every single one is not a fix and you need to change this and do this differently in the way you're showing up on social media. It's a mindset fix of the way that you are viewing enrolling, the way you're viewing working your business. It's all in here. So I did want to touch on both of those things. And something I wrote down at the top is that you are spending so much time trying to figure things out instead of simply showing up and continuing to work. And I think that that's what happens with a lot of people, is that we pick a problem that we have, or we pick something that's not happening for us and we identify with it and we allow it to block us. So every single time we're showing up, that's what's in the back of our mind. You know, well, I'm not enrolling because, or I'm not good at this, or I don't know how to do this, and this is why my business isn't growing. When you have to let go of those things. Like, you cannot try to show up and grow a business and enroll people while holding on to thoughts like that and allowing yourself to be blocked. So as I said, two different sections, the mindset portion and the action portion. When it comes to mindset portion, I'm going to bring it back to something I talked about in a video I did in the team page last month about what you are in control of and what you are not in control of. And a lot of you guys are focusing on things that you are not in control of and bringing it on as your own problem, and then that's blocking you, like I just said. So you're focusing on things that you cannot spend your time focusing on because you're never going to experience that growth, because it's that roadblock right in front of you that's stopping you from getting anywhere. Because every time it happens, or every time it comes up, or every time something doesn't happen, you identify with that one thing. So as I'm going, guys, I'm gonna try here. Please drop any questions that you have with the things I'm talking about. I'm going to go through my notes and then I will get to the Q&A portion of like what I asked you guys to ask me. So when it comes to what you're in control of and what you're not in control of, let's have a conversation about some things that you are not in control of and that you have to stop focusing on. And some of these things might be what you fixate on constantly in your business. So something you're not in control of, and this might be like a shock to people, you are not in control of the type of person that becomes your potential or enrolls with you. And I think that it's kind of a double-edged sword. Number one, yes, you attract what you show up as. You attract people that match the growth that you're having, but you will also attract people that are not like you, or maybe don't have the same mindset as you, or don't have the same vision as you. But if you sit there and constantly rack your brain trying to figure out why your potential, isn't on the same page as you, or why you just enroll this person and they don't have a fire lit underneath you like they do, or why they're not running like you do when you're showing up and leading from the front. All of these thoughts, right? You cannot control the type of person that messages you. I enroll all different types of people. I enroll people that sign up and kill it and hit their VIPs and go 4K. I enroll people that sign up and work for 2 days and then fall off. I enroll people that I sign up and I never hear from again. I enroll people that are very in and out. They will show up and then they'll disappear. They'll show up and then they disappear. I don't have control over that. So that's why I hate that, like the phrase, the ideal client. You do not have control over the type of person that messages you. Can you set boundaries, with what you are willing to pour energy into? Absolutely. And is it important for you to continue growing so that you can attract people that are like-minded? Yes, but every person that messages you or joins your team is not going to be just like you. They're not going to have the same work ethic as you. They're not going to have the same mindset as you. They're not going to have the same drive as you. You cannot control that. So if you are sitting and thinking, okay, I must be doing something wrong because every person I'm signing up is not doing anything, or every potential I have ghosts me, like what is wrong? Nothing is wrong with you. It's not your fault. You can't control that. Like I said, I have people on every end of the spectrum. People that sign up and are like-minded and are, just as motivated as I am and just as driven and continue to show up every single day despite what their tracker says. And I have people that never show up for a day or are very wishy-washy and are in and out. So stop focusing on that. That is not your fault or in your control, the type of person that you attract that comes into your inbox. And it's a trap we can all fall into because we're like, gosh, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Why am I bringing on people that don't have, the same mindset that I do or don't have the same drive that I do? We don't have control over that. And I've always said that being a leader, such a big part of it is learning how to lead so many different types of people. Every single one of you needs something different from me, needs me to speak to you in a different way, needs me to pour into you in a different way, has a different color personality, has a different drive, okay? We're all individuals. So do not think that you are doing something wrong if somebody who signs up, they don't do anything. It's not your fault. But when you fixate on that and you then start to think something is wrong with you, or that you're working your business in the wrong way, or you're leading in the wrong way because of somebody else's actions, that's a bad situation to be in. You're going to drive yourself nuts. So that's something you're not in control of. What else are you not in control of? If a potential will message you that day or not, how many likes you're going to get on a post, how many poll votes you're going to get, if somebody ghosts you. You have no control over that. None. Stop focusing on it. Stop comparing, not the word, comparing is not the word. Stop identifying with if what you're doing is right or wrong in your business because of other people's actions. Your responsibility is to show up and work your business. Your responsibility is to show up and pour into others. Your responsibility is to run after your goals. It does not mean you did something wrong that day if nobody votes on your poll. It does not mean that you are not sharing the business in a right way if you had a potential that ghosts you. That doesn't mean you said something wrong in the conversation. Could you? Maybe. We can work on conversations. We have plenty of trainings on that. But it has nothing to do with you. Okay, so you have to decipher with what you're focusing on. Is this actually something within my control that I can work on to produce a better outcome? Or am I focusing on somebody else's actions and pretending that that's up to me? Because it's not. So those are things you can't focus on. What can you focus on? Okay, what are you in control of? You are in control of your consistency, the way you share the business, and the way you impact others. You are in control of the growth that you experience and the confidence that you build. You are in control of your skill set and mindset and the limiting beliefs that you're placing on yourself. Those are things that are within your control. Do you notice how not one of those things is about somebody else? It's about you. And I think when we are focusing on enrolling promoters, we are so focused on what other people need to do that we're not focusing on what actually matters. We're so focused on, well, why did that person ghost me when they were interested? Why did that person, stop responding to me? Why did nobody vote on that poll? Why has nobody messaged me? You're not in control of that. You are in control of you, of your growth, of the skill set that you develop, of the way that you show up, your consistency, what you pour into your business. So when you stop focusing so much on what other people are or are not doing, and you start focusing on yourself and how to better yourself and grow your confidence and grow your skill set and grow the way in which you show up, that is what relates to other people coming to you and signing up with you. That is what empowers other people to believe that they can do this also. That is what you are in charge of. You are not in charge of those other things. So when you're so hyper-focused on all those other details that you have no control over, you're not actually working on the things that matter. You're not actually focusing on the growth that you have to be equipped to enroll somebody. And I think sometimes we really do have to check our ego when it comes to enrolling people. We just get in our heads sometimes, and you kind of just have to take yourself back a couple notches and be like, okay, why am I expecting somebody else to say yes to their dreams today when that's their business? You know what I mean? We place it on ourselves, well, why didn't I have any potentials? Why didn't they message me? That's in their time. You have to check your ego with that. You have to sit down. You can't say, well, I put up an opportunity story. Why didn't I get a potential? I don't know, because you didn't get a potential that day, right? We kind of have to see how that can be ego driven, of thinking that because I showed up and did this, I deserve this. And it's not up to us. It's up to the person watching you when and if they are comfortable to reach out, if they are interested in this, if you're somebody that they want as their leader. That is up to them. So what you can control is what you do and the way that you grow and what you pour in, your consistency, your honesty, your passion, how you show up. It's not about them, okay? So that's how it gets very me focused when we are enrolling promoters, and we're not in a business of being me focused. The only me focus you need to have is your growth, because that ends up greatly impacting others. So that's my responsibility, because it then impacts you and my potentials and my social media. But I cannot control what somebody does that day or if they vote on my poll. I cannot say because I did X, Y, and Z, I deserve a potential today. It doesn't work like that, right? We're in sales. We're not in the business of I did this, so I get this. That's a salary. That's not sales. That's not what we do, okay? Okay. I mean, yes, that would take you ages. Don't do that. Okay, so those are the things you are in control of and the things that you're not in control of. So when you think about enrolling promoters, I need you to focus more on the way that you need to evolve and flourish to bring promoters into your business, to equip yourself to be a leader, to know that you are showing up and giving your absolute best to bring people into this business. And you have to stop making it about yourself. You have to stop making it about your enrollment, because you're not going to reach anybody. It's not going to happen. You have to unlock somebody believing in themselves. That is our job. And I'm going to go through that in a second when I go through the 3-step process. But your mindset is everything. So if you don't have confidence in speaking about the business, why are you going to enroll a promoter? If you are too afraid to talk about the opportunity because you haven't made any money yet, how are you supposed to make somebody else money? How are you supposed to help them? How are you supposed to enroll them? You have to switch your focus, because you're focused on all the wrong things. And then it becomes me, I deserve this. Why is nobody reaching out to me? What am I doing wrong? It's this spiral that can be so toxic. And then you don't end up reaching people because you're so hyper-focused on what you're doing right or doing wrong that you're not just actually showing up and impacting people and sharing what you have your hands on. Whether you have a millionaire award or you haven't earned your first commission check, we both have our hands on the same exact opportunity. So why would you not talk about it? Why would you be too afraid to speak up about it when it is the same opportunity? I don't have any features that you don't. I don't have my hands on anything different than you do. When I enroll a promoter, they go into this team page. When you enroll a promoter, they go into this team page. You have the same exact resources that I do, the same exact opportunity to bring somebody in that I do, the same exact company that I'm a part of. So why are you you're too scared to talk about it? So instead of focusing on other people and why they're not reaching out, we have to work on your confidence. We have to work on you being willing to show up and share what you have your hands on. You have to. Because if you're not, why are you expecting a promoter? If you're just putting up an opportunity story twice a week, why are you expecting a promoter? When you're not getting on face-to-face and pouring into your audience and talking about your journey and talking about what you're fighting for and instilling dreams back into people and firing them back up and having them dig deep in their soul to remember the things that they wanted when they were younger that they've pushed down because society told them that that was crazy or that wasn't the way things worked. You have to shift your focus. So let's go into the action portion of sharing the business. Again, you can ask me any questions as we go about this. If you have anything about mindset too, before I end this, ask that. But I'm going to talk about the action portion of working your business. And the behind the scenes is the most important. The confidence that you have, the passion that you have. You have to be real with yourself. If you don't believe that you can make it to 4K and make any money, why the hell are you going to enroll somebody? Why is somebody going to be brought to you if you don't even believe in what you have your hands on? So you have to shift your focus. Do you see that? When you are sitting in limiting beliefs and you are thinking all these negative things about what you can't accomplish, how are you supposed to help somebody else believe what they can? How are you supposed to enroll somebody and pour into them and bring them in and help them make an income if you don't even believe in this? And that's the first step. What is your belief and passion with this opportunity? Where is your confidence? What do you have to lay down right now to be able to show up and actually bring people into this business? Because I don't believe that we are gifted people to carry through this journey unless we believe in what we have our hands on. That's why my last business failed. Yeah, I was showing up and doing all the things, but I didn't believe in it. I didn't think I could make any money. I didn't have a good feeling about it. My paychecks did not reflect that the work that I was putting in and the people that I were enrolling was building a paycheck. I didn't believe that I could help other people make a paycheck. So of course, it crumbled until it was gone. So check your belief system. Do you believe in what you have your hands on? Are you willing to show up and share about it? Do you believe that you can help somebody come in and make money? If not, that's what you have to start with. You have to take it back to basics. It's like when you go to therapy and like they ask you all about your history. They don't start with the problems you're having right now. They go back to your childhood, to your earliest memory, to work through the trauma, to work through the things that you have covered up, the things that you don't remember anymore, to work through the problems that have been fed through everything in your life. So you can't just show up and do the IPAs and do the work if your belief system is not intact, okay? So when it comes to the action portion of working the business. I've done a video in here before and I highly recommend you go and watch it if you haven't, but I talk about my 3-step process of enrolling promoters and I'm going to briefly speak about it here, but this is the way that I show up and I work my business every single day. The 3-step process. We'll just do it as a pun intended because of our 3-step. The first step is I share what I have my hands on, meaning Lavelle. I share the company, I share the products, I share the perks, I share our comp plan, I share the features, I share our customer program, I share everything about what I have my hands on. Okay, so that's the first part. What are you a part of and how are you sharing that with other people? Step 1. Step 2, I share my story and what I am fighting for. And I have done that since day 1. We all start this business without having made a paycheck. We all start at zero. We all start at nothing. But I came into this guns blazing, sharing this opportunity. That's how I made a paycheck. Not because I was too afraid to talk about it, not because I was too afraid to open up about my story, not because I just put up a couple slides here and there and then it was like, why has nobody reached out to me? I showed up and I gave it everything before I had earned $1. That's what earned me the dollars, showing up before I had made anything. We all start at nothing. So please remind yourself that. We all start having made nothing. We all start with our hands on the same opportunity. So after sharing what I have my hands on, I share my story and what I'm fighting for. So if you have the limiting belief that you can't talk about your story because you haven't achieved your goal yet, or you haven't made X amount of money, excuse my French, but that's bullshit. It's bullshit. If you don't start talking about it, you're never going to get to the goal. You have to start where you are, and you have to be okay with where you are. So as I've shared before, I had to get honest about where I was. I had to get honest that I left my previous company making no money. I had to get honest that I could not even afford fast food. I had to get honest that to sign up for the business, I spent the last $200 I had. I had to be honest and share that my boyfriend at the time, now husband, was paying all of our bills. I had to share that I was no longer going to be in that position, and I was doing something about it. And I know if you've been around for forever, you're probably so sick of hearing this, but on every single post that I made about my family and the business, at the bottom of it, I said, #bringing him home. I hadn't brought him home from the oil field. That was just my goal. So stop creating that lie for yourself that you can't share what you're fighting for or what your dreams are because you haven't made any money or you're not there yet. Of course you're not there yet because you're not sharing this. You have to share it to get there. So I was vulnerable. I said the things I wanted to work for. I said why I was unhappy. I said what I didn't want to struggle with anymore. I said, I'm sick of him going on Hitch for 14 days and me being stuck at home without a car because we were a one-car family. I sat in my house for 14 days in a state I had just moved to with nobody but a couple members of his family that I knew. And I said, I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to keep saying goodbye to him. I know what I have my hands on can do something for my family, and that is what I'm fighting for. I talked about it. People are not going to relate to your story if they just get the end version. I can promise you that you will relate a lot more to me if you knew or know what I've gone through in my life than seeing me hold a sign or an award or seeing me say that now we've paid off all of our debt and we've been able to do well. No, you will relate to me and be inspired by me, not in a fancy, flashy way, and in your heart that guts me because that's what I want. That feeling is when you know my story. You have to start sharing. You have to have belief in what you have your hands on and that this is going to be the vehicle that gets you there. And if you're not sharing that with people, it's all fluff. Like just showing up and posting 4 slides about an opportunity story a couple times a week, it's fluff. Yeah, what we have our hands on is great. That's why it's a portion of the 3-step process of how I share the business. But if you are not attached to that, if your story is not attached to that, nobody can be attached to you. They need something to grab onto. They need your story. They need to know what you're fighting for. They have to see it. I mean, even take it, for example, like why Katie enrolled with me. I think I was probably, maybe I was a 12K by the time she had signed up. Maybe not. I don't remember exactly what rank I was at. But Katie enrolled with me because she saw the transition on my page from the way I had been posting, because she was told to block me when I switched companies. From when I very first started the company, she saw my evolution, and it was simply how passionate I was about my sample customer reviews. Because she had seen that like in our past company, like that wasn't something we were passionate about. So what are they grabbing onto? Is it that they see your happiness growing, that they see your joy growing, that they see your excitement, your passion, that they see you finally just like come back to life again? They're not going to see that if you don't show up and share. They're not going to see that or have anything to attach to if you're just putting up like a pre-made story or just sharing the features of the business. That's why it's more than one part. You have to attach both. So if you're embarrassed about your story, stop. It's your story. You can't grow if you can't be honest with yourself about where you are and where you want to go. And I'm not saying that you have to go online and like share the nitty gritty of everything that you're going through. You know, I didn't share a lot at that time. I didn't share that I was struggling with my drinking. I didn't share that I was struggling with abusing a prescription. I didn't share the nitty gritty of like the hard stuff I was going through, but I shared that like, look, this is not it. This is not the life I want. I don't want to bring kids into this world and know that he's not even going to be here. That's not what I want. I want more. So I got online and I shared that. Every single post, I put that hashtag at the bottom, bringing him home. So it was a lot more powerful when I actually brought him home because they had seen me fighting for that. That gave people belief in themselves that they could do that too. So if you're too embarrassed, you have to look in the mirror and be like, shame on me, because my story is going to inspire somebody. It's going to change somebody's life. It's going to be the reason somebody says yes and then their life changes. How can I not share that? Okay? You have to be able to talk about that stuff. And again, I'm not saying to spill everything. I have boundaries. I know that I share a lot online, but I still have a lot behind the scenes that I don't talk about because I believe in having a private life too. But you have to share your story. And that's a part of showing up and building your business. You have to share what you're fighting for. You have to share why you need that income. What is it going to do for your family? What was the reason that you said yes? Why is this the opportunity? Okay, so it is sharing what you have your hands on, as in the features of the business, the opportunity, like all the amazing perks of what we have, because that's phenomenal. But the second part is sharing your story and what you're fighting for. So you see how I said what you're fighting for, not what you fought for and already have, what you're fighting for. Because I was fighting before I made a paycheck. I was fighting before I hit any rank. I had to start fighting and showing up before I did that. So if you're not doing that, you have to change that. So I would watch that video that I talked about. It's the long 3-step process video of how I enroll promoters. And I would also watch my live in here called Why Would Somebody Get Into the Car With You? Your audience is not going to sign up with you or hop in your inbox if they don't feel a connection to you, if they're not uplifted by your spirit, if they're not, if they don't have something tangible to grab onto, they're not going to get in the car with a stranger. Think about how intimidating it is to just randomly send somebody a message. Like, that's weird, right? Like, that's why we don't like cold messaging. So now imagine being the potential having to reach out to you to say, hey, I'm interested. That takes guts. That takes a massive belief for you to unlock them wanting to reach out and say, I'm interested in what you do. Can we please talk? That's going to take you instilling a lot of belief in them. That's going to take them knowing your story, knowing what you're fighting for. They have to know. Compare this to our fertility journey. I know that when we announced that we were pregnant, this pregnancy was so celebrated and it was the best feeling in the world. Why? Because you guys knew what it took us to get here, right? You knew my story. You knew what I was going through. And yeah, if anybody announces they're pregnant, it's incredible, but you had an attachment. If you watch my page, if not, you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. But especially if you're somebody close to me or you've watched me for a while, there was emotions attached to that. You knew how hard we had fought for this pregnancy. You knew what we had been through. So it makes achieving that so much more incredible. It is so much more depth, so much more feeling, okay? So relate that to your business. When you hit your first rank, I want your audience to be like, damn, I know what that means for her. Like, I know what she's working towards. Does your audience know that? Are you actually sharing what you're fighting for? Or are you just here like sharing the business here and there and talking about that big bonus that you want? Why do you want it? What is that going to do for your family? When you break that down, people relate to that. It's the pain point that's talked about in like every marketing book ever. They have to relate to your story. They have to know what you're fighting for. I need to keep track of the time. Okay, 20 more minutes. They have to be on your journey with you. They have to know what you're going through. If it's surface level and it's just, hey, I joined this opportunity, here's all the perks, and then a couple times a week I put up a couple stories about the company. No, they need you. They need both paired together. So that's the first 2 steps. Sharing what I have my hands on, sharing my story and what I'm fighting for. The third part is that you have to inspire others to unlock those same feelings and that same willingness. So I share what I have my hands on. I share my story and what I'm fighting for. But the third part that ties this all together in like a perfect little bundle, this bundle is your enrollment, is when you make somebody else believe that they can do this too. When you unlock that in them, that's magic. That's where the enrollments are. So they see, wow, that's a great opportunity. That's different than any network marketing company I've ever heard. Look at the opportunities, look at the money that's on the table, look at the structure, look at that community. That's the first part. The second part, gosh, look at her story. Look at what she's achieving. Look at what she's fighting for. I want to fight for those same things too, but I'm scared. That's what holds everybody back, the fear, right? That's why the third part is that you have to unlock belief in them. You have to unlock them saying, okay, maybe I can do what she does. And how do you do that? You have to pour into other people. You have to talk about their fears. That's why I'm always face-to-face on my story. I tell people, I know that you're scared for X, Y, and Z reasons. I was the same exact way. You have to touch on their fears of what's holding them back and unlock that for them too. And all these three parts go together. And if you're missing one of them, it doesn't come together. It doesn't happen because it's like a puzzle where you're missing a piece. You have to have all three because they can be super interested in the company and think, great, that's a great opportunity. And they can be super inspired by what you're fighting for or what you've already achieved, whatever stage you're in your business. But if they don't believe they can do it themselves, you don't have an enrollment. If you haven't unlocked that little bit of courage in them just for them to send that message or for them to say, you know, maybe I could try what she does. She makes me know that my fears are normal. You know, she tells me on her stories every day when she's talking about the opportunity, what she was afraid of in the beginning, the objections that she gets. She talks about all the things that people feel. She's talking about what I'm fearing, what I'm scared of, how I want this, and I think it's incredible, but what's holding me back? You have to speak to that for people, okay? So that's why that's the third step of the process. You have to unlock it in them. And I think that that's what a lot of people miss, is that they share the opportunity and maybe you're sharing your story, but are you speaking directly to your audience? You have to get face-to-face on your story. Or if going live is your thing, you have to go live. You have to pour into people. Okay, it's not a Pinterest quote. It's unlocking that in them. It's digging those dreams back up. And that can be what your story does for them. It can say like, wow, that's actually possible. But you have to unlock it in them too, okay? So that's why it's the process of sharing all the different things. So every day on my page, it doesn't look the same. Every day I'm not sharing the same feature of the business or talking about the same part of my story. I'm juggling these three things every day, okay? Every day. I'm alternating between these things. I'm giving them some of the features, some of the great things about the company. I'm sharing our credits, for instance, or I'm sharing our auto bonus or the VIP bonus, or I'm talking about the community and I'm throwing in my story. I'm sharing where I was. I'm not afraid to get nitty and gritty with how bad things were. I shared the other day on my story what my checking account looked like the week after I joined Lavelle before my first paycheck had hit. I think I had like $2.54 in checking and I had 5 cents in savings, but that's only because you have to have that in there or else they shut the savings account down. So I actually would have probably liked that 5 cents. So I had less than $3 to my name. And I said, I've been where you are. That's where I was before I got my first paycheck in Lavelle. It can change. That doesn't have to be your story. That doesn't have to be where you are in a year. It can change. If I can start this company with $3 after I bought my starter pack and be here 3.5 years later, so can you. So you have to unlock that belief in people the same way that your belief is unlocked by what's possible in this company, by looking at the leaders on this team, by seeing what we've accomplished, by seeing the trenches we've dug ourselves out of. That gives you that hope, like, gosh, if they can do it through this, I can too. That's what you have to give your audience, okay? So that's the 3-step process. There's a whole video on that in the team page also. I wrote down that opportunity stories aren't enough. Yes, that is a very big part of how I bring people into my inbox. Yes. So for me, this is how I view opportunity stories. I talk about like face-to-face or through posts or through however I'm doing it that week, I talk about these 3 steps, right? I'm sharing the opportunity, I'm sharing me, and I'm unlocking that belief in people. For me, an opportunity story is that call to action because there's a poll on it. So that is a safe place for somebody to raise their hand and say, hey, I'm interested, without them having to randomly enter my inbox, which is probably uncomfortable for them. So that's how I view opportunity stories. Yes, they can be powerful. I have many enrollments that came from opportunity stories, but it's probably not just because of that one opportunity story that they read and then voted on. It's probably because of also what I was doing for the 6 months prior of going face-to-face, posting, sharing my story, sharing my IGTVs, doing all of that with other opportunity stories to that. So for me, that's what an opportunity story is. It's the call to action where they can click, I'm interested, and it takes the pressure off of them to reach out, because then I say, hey, did you vote on that poll? That's how I view opportunity stories, is it's that final kind of tug where I can reach my hand out and say like, hey, I know you've been watching. Here's a recap of everything that I have my hands on. Do you want to grab my hand? That's what that poll is for me. So that's how I view opportunity stories. Yes, that is extremely important. I'm consistent with them. I do a couple of them every single week, but that's how I view them, is it's just that call to action for somebody to reach out. That is not the nitty gritty of my business. That is not how I get every enrollment. That's not how, I bring somebody to believe that they can do this. It has to be a mixture of all of this stuff. So ask yourself, like, am I truly giving it my all in sharing the business and the opportunity? Or am I just like throwing a story up there and being like, well, damn, why did nobody reach out to me? Why should somebody reach out to you? Why are they going to reach out to you? If you went to your page, would you reach out to you? Would you be inspired enough by what you've shared to be like, gosh, I really got to ask her what she does, because like, I got to make some changes. So ask yourself those things. There's a lot of importance in variety in what you share, which I touch on all the time. I'm going to try to get to these questions too. I have a chiropractor appointment. Variety in what you share. We have so many things you can talk about when it comes to the business. So don't tell yourself that like you're being repetitive. Why are you being repetitive? We have so many things you can talk about, like so many features. Even if you just like scroll through the rewards plan, I talked about this in my content and planning. Open up your calendar and every single day, write one thing about the business you're going to talk about. You're going to talk about how we run our business for free, about our free product credit, about the VIP bonus, the auto bonus, about the community, about our products. I brag on our CEOs and our products all the time because they're phenomenal. The quality of them is out of this world. It deserves to be talked about. Okay. I also love the way that Jason says nutraceutical. That's like my favorite word ever. Okay, they're incredible CEOs. Talk about that. Talk about the community. Talk about the trainings that we have. Like, be open with what you're trained on. I share that all the time on my page. I'm like, I don't just train them on like marketing tactics. Like, I want you to grow as an individual. I want to help you budget. I want to help you have better communication in your marriage. I want to help you be more confident. I want to help you show up and be who you want to be. I want you to grow in your relationship with God. Like, talk about the things that we train on. Talk about the community. Talk about our customer referral program. Talk about how we don't have any forced auto ships. Like, guys, there's so much you can talk about. On your calendar, write down one thing a day that you're going to talk about. I don't know what nutraceutical means, but I like it when he says that word. That's the space that we're in with products. So write down one thing. Take that pressure off yourself of, I don't know what to talk about. Go on your story face to face and talk about one thing a day about the thing. And then you mix in the inspiration and you mix in your story, but that gives you that platform. Okay. So variety in what you talk about, because you don't know what people are going to be interested in. Somebody might be money driven. So when you speak about bonuses, or you speak about our comp plan, or you speak about those things, maybe that's where they grab onto. When they are driven by income, when they're in a bad financial place and they're like, gosh, that's what I need to do. Some people are driven by emotion, just me pouring that inspiration into them. Some people just want something to be a part of, talking about the community. So you don't know what is going to appeal to every individual. So you have to be broad in the way you talk about the business. And the last thing I want to say before I answer the questions really quick, you have to have confidence in your conversations. Again, what you can control, what you can't. If somebody ghosts you, it doesn't mean you did something wrong. A food containing health-giving additives and having benefit. Maybe that's not the right word. I thought that was the word he always used. Anywho, If somebody ghosts you, it doesn't mean you did something wrong. It doesn't mean that you don't know how to have a conversation. It doesn't mean that you're sharing the opportunity wrong. I get ghosted every day. That's why we follow up. That's why I have people's names written down in my planner, okay? Don't take it personal, but you have to have confidence in your conversations, and you have to stop being afraid to talk to people. When somebody messages you, I don't want you to feel like you're gonna have diarrhea. I want you to be excited. I want you to be like, yes. That's our goal. When we're not cold messaging people, our goal and the whole point of what we do is to have somebody reach out. That's what our business is. That's what it is. So that means you did something right. That means you inspired somebody. That means you uplifted somebody. You unlocked belief in them. You got the conversation out there and they want to be a part of it. Be excited when somebody messages you, okay? Do not think that like you're gonna mess it up or you're too afraid to do whatever. Yeah, guys, if you're like one of my promoters or like one of my friends, I forget to answer people all the time. Like my husband can say something to me in the other room and I don't even hear it, and he's like in complete audible distance. Like I forget all the time. Maybe their kids took their phone, like Sue said. Maybe they had to run to an appointment. Maybe they'll respond to you tomorrow. It doesn't mean you did something wrong. You just have to have grace with people, okay? You have to stop making it about you and what you're doing wrong all the time. You have to have confidence in the way you talk to people. We have so many conversation trainings on this page. So many. But it comes from here. You just got to get on that voice message button and you have to be excited to talk to people. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to be. Okay, I have 8 minutes. Let me answer these questions really quick. Okay, growing your network on Instagram. We have so many trainings in the team page on that. If you have watched those trainings and you are still telling yourself you don't know how to grow your network, you're in your own way. It is not difficult, I promise you. Just say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna go add 20 people. This is what it says in the trainings, that I can search for hashtags, I can go to locations, I can be on my explore feed. We step by step on how to do it. Get out of your way. That's one of those problems we identify with. We're like, well, I'm just not good at growing my network. Why? It's moving your fingers on your phone. I promise that you can do it. So if you've watched those trainings, do not identify with that being a roadblock in your way. It's something on your IPA list that you check off, you do it, you move on. Do not overcomplicate it, and do not let that be something that gets in your way. Do you plan your posts and stories to be simultaneous together? Not really. I kind of do it here or there. Like if I talk about like business on my stories a lot that day, like my post is going to be just like me in my real life. A lot of my posts are just me in my real life. I do a lot of my business on my story. So I don't really plan them together. What are your exact IPAs / routine to get results and avoid being on your phone 24/7? We have a ton of videos in here of recorded work with me's and ones that I have done. So if you want to go watch one of those, I walk you through everything that I do. And if you don't want to be on your phone 24/7, don't be on your phone 24/7. You have to set that boundary. And again, you can't overcomplicate it. Set work hours, do time blocking, and then put your phone down. So again, don't make something be a struggle. It's not a struggle. It's as simple as going like this and then not picking it up once you've done your work and you put in the effort that you know you want to in your business. If you want to put in more work and mass enroll, what actions do you take? I'm from another company, so work for me would just be more host to post. I don't want you to use the word mass enroll. I want you to get rid of that. Number one, if Steven is on here, you have been mass enrolling. You have hit VIPs on your account and your spouse's account. And you have enrolled like crazy and accomplished so much, but coming from that company, it never feels like enough. So that is not a problem of what am I not doing to mass enroll. It's you have to retrain your brain to know that what you're doing for your business is enough. You don't need to be on your phone all day long, and you don't have to enroll 100 people a month in this company to be successful. Okay, that's not what it's about. It's about quality over quantity. You're just showing up and working your business and knowing that that is enough. Again, it's not tying, well, I did this, so what is my expectation of what I'm getting for it? No, you just show up and you work your business, you do what you want to do for it that day, and then you put your phone down. So that's a retrain of your brain, not a new skill you have to learn, if that makes sense. What kind of conversation you have with promoters. I feel like I make such progress and then we're at a standstill. Check out the conversations video. I think I have 3. I have my original conversations video, and then I have an updated one with the gray hat on that's right there. And then the second part of that one is a Zoom, but just search conversations. We have so many of those. But again, I can't teach you how to talk. So you just have to get comfortable with answering the questions that you're being asked. I also posted that like text replacement post in here, and in the comments I did put my answers to like the commonly asked questions, like what are the starter packs, not like the emotion driven stuff you have to answer, but the very simple ones. That was another conversation one, so watch those trainings again. And you just have to stop identifying with those problems. You don't have a problem talking to people. It's a confidence problem. It's that you don't feel that you're answering in the right way because they didn't sign up, or you're afraid that you didn't say something the right way. Number one, I always say, go to your enroller and say, hey, can you look at this conversation and tell me, like, do you think I should have added anything in? Or, you know, would you have done anything differently? And everybody's conversations look different. But if you've already done that and they're like, no, you're good, it's just you're in your head and you have to stop, I don't think about it. I get a question, I voice message, I answer, I put my phone down, and I'm done. I don't overthink it. My job is just to talk to people. It's our job. It should be something that you enjoy to do. Tips for enrolling promoters when you haven't made a ton of money. I talked about that. That's a complete mindset thing. Tips for closing the conversation sale. I have those tips in the conversation videos. And the last question was how to sign a promoter and they continue to have the fire. I feel like I sign people, but don't keep close contact. It's one-sided. Is this a leader trait I need to learn? No. You cannot make people have fire. I mean, you can motivate somebody and maybe they're motivated for, that's why motivation is fleeting. So I can have a really great message and you'll be like, yes, I'm going to work my business. And then they show up for 2 days. That's fleeting motivation. Their fire and their drive, it has to come from their why and it has to come from within. And if somebody is not showing up anymore, it's not your fault. You did not do something wrong as a leader. This is their business. So as long as you are showing up and working your business and you have yourself available to share resources and be a leader to them when they need them, and you've poured that into them, you've done your job. You cannot control what people do in the business, who walks away, who falls off, who does what. So perfect timing. Okay, I hope that this helped. I hope that this instilled in you that you just have to stop overcomplicating it. Use that 3-step process. Plan out the different things that you want to talk about when it comes to the features of the business. Go a little bit deeper with your story. Watch that video I have about the 3-step process of how I enroll promoters. Katie has a great one on being a paid storyteller. That's literally what our job is. That's why I don't overcomplicate what I do. I show up and I share my day-to-day life and what I've been through and what I'm fighting for and the stage of life I'm in. And I share what I have my hands on, and then I pour into others to help them do the same. And that is me working my business. There's not an algorithm hack. There's not a specific opportunity story wording. There's not any of those things. You are the key to your business. People need you. They need your story, and they need this company. And when you believe that in your soul, like when you believe that so deep down, like guys, I am blown away by this company on a daily basis. It shocks me. It shocks me. Every time we come out with something new, every time I learn something new, which I still am 3.5 years later, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's nothing compared to what we have our hands on. And when you pair that with your story and your journey and what you're fighting for and pouring that same belief into others, that is when your PPA is going to go up because you're enrolling promoters. And that's when you're going to help them to truly make a difference in their life. So I love you guys. I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that you have a great day.